Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verses 1 to 5.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dhanam Damascha Yajñascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyamakroodaha Tyagashantirapaishunam Daya Bhuteshvaloluptvam Madhavam Hrirachapalam Tejakshamadhriti Shaucham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata Dambho Darpobhimanascha Krodha Parushyamivacha Ajnanam Chabhijatasya Partha Sampadamasurim Daivi Sampadvimokshaya Nibandhaya Surimata Mashucha Sampadam Daivim Abhijatosi Pandava.
We have been studying the qualities of a divine person, and so far we have covered 10 qualities. 9 was covered in the first shloka. We started the second shloka last week, and we did the quality which is ahimsa. So, one full class we had discussed about ahimsa in last class. Ahimsa literally means non-violence, harmlessness. So, it is not anything to do with external violence or non-violence. It is to do with inner maturity, wherein a person has no intention to hurt any being. Mentally, when a person has matured so much that he is or she is incapable of hurting any being at the mental level, that is called non-violence. A lot of people misunderstand this quality. A lot of qualities they misunderstand. They misunderstand this quality also. So that's why I was saying last week, he's talking about non-violence when he's telling Arjuna to fight, in which he had to kill so many people. So obviously he's not talking about the external violence. In the name of spirituality, a lot of us suppress our violence within and externally try to be non-violent. That is not non-violence. There are a lot of people who, according to their nature, when they function in the world, they become non-violent internally. They don't have any ill feeling to hurt any being. So that is the main crux here. Since we discussed about this quite a bit, we'll move to the next quality. Ahimsa, then he says Satyam. Satyam means truth. You can say that it is living up to your conviction, and in the areas where you are not having clear conviction, going with your conscience. So, Satyam is the ability of a being, human being, to live up to one's conviction, not on others' dictations. You understand? We must have thought about something, weighing the pros and cons, all the data, and arriving at a firm conviction and functioning at that conviction level. When you get new data because of which your conviction has to change, you're ready to change. It's not like you are not ready to change. But as of now, with all the data and the pros and cons having weighed, this is the truth. This is the conviction. Whatever may be the opinion of millions of people, it doesn't matter. To have that ability to stand by the truth. And also, whenever we talk about the word truth, we must simultaneously talk about two other words. They are called fact and opinion. Many of us go by the opinion of the people, mass, or somebody who is extremely respected. Whatever may be the truth, if somebody whom you respect the most says something completely different from what you feel is the truth, you go by that, by the other person's opinion, because so many people are following. How can he be wrong? You know, when we grew up, in maths book, they used to give problems and solution to those problems at the end of the book. At least while I was studying, it was there. I don't know after that. There is always this temptation to see the answer. You know, and sometimes they purposely give wrong answer. If the answer is 63, they'll give 36. Ulta karke de denge. So the fellows are solving, and then they say, I'm getting 63. And the book is saying 36. How can the book be wrong? And somehow they work to get the answer 36. But the fellows who go with the fundamentals, they don't care about the answer. They say it's up to you. You do whatever you want. So they just go by the formula, the fundamentals, and they don't even look at the answer. That is what he means by saying going by the truth, not going by the mass, the crowd, leadership, whatever is the truth, going by that. See, facts are what is at the data collected at the sense level, right? But you use the intellect, probe through the fact, and reveal the truth from it. Fact need not be truth. What you see, now you are seeing the world. Can you call it Satyam? We say no. Of course, you cannot call it Asatyam also. But then we say it is Mithya. You are seeing, you are experiencing, you are going through it, yet it is not Satyam. You understand? So in every aspect, you use your intellect, which is fortified by the knowledge of the scripture, probe into the truth of every matter and go by that. Not bring in previous prejudice, past experience. Your past experience with somebody could be terribly bad. And yet in today's context, you will view the whole thing afresh. Not bring in the past and allow it to bias your present decision. That is called living up to truth. You understand? So, not going by the mind. Mind has a lot of memories stored in about people, about experience, about everything. Right? To not neglect those data, but not to be colored by such opinions of the past, information of the past. Being aware in the present, going by the present data. And then to whatever extent you need to refer, you refer the past and all that. But take a fresh decision. That's called living by truth, satyam. Even at the cost of you being alienated. Going by satyam. Going with satyam. Tomorrow is Ram Navami and we are going to have a talk on the leadership qualities of Lord Rama. Now, Lord Rama did what he thought is right to establish dharma and satyam in every context, even when it came to killing of Vali. You understand? He didn't bother about what the world will think about him. What will they say? What is the right thing to do in that context? That is called satyam. We give so much weightage to the asat and nitya. We have no weightage given to asat and nitya. So, the dignity of a human being is to live up to the conviction. In certain areas where you may not have strong conviction for so many reasons, you go by conscience. You understand? You go by conscience. People may say many things. Shakespeare says, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as night the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man. He says, to thine own self be true. You must always be true to yourself. To thine own self be true. And it must follow as night the day. Just how faithful the night follows the day and day follows the night. You should follow the truth at any cost. Then he says, thou canst not then be false to any man. Then you are not false or wrong to anybody. You are going with dharma, satyam. So, not getting colored by the perceptions and mind, going with the truth and able to stand with it no matter what difficulty you have to face because of it. And the whole world once upon a time that the sun is revolving around the earth. Right? The scientists said no. The other way around. What happened to him? They finished him off. But now we know what the truth is. So that's called the quality of Satyam. It's not a fanatic attachment to truth. Just not giving into untruth. See, giving into untruth means there is fear. Please understand this. He started with the quality of fearlessness. Isn't it? That's the first quality he says. Fearlessness. Abhayam. And I told you, fear means for what? Protection of the ego. Protection of the ego. So you give in to falsehood, you give in to untruth to protect something that is false. When you know for certain that something actually doesn't exist, why would you do anything to protect it? You understand? All this comes because of that lack of knowledge. clear. A divine person, as you get closer and closer to the divinity, you're very clear. This is fake. This is real. This is fake. Truth doesn't require any protection. Truth is protection itself. Truth cannot be covered for long. It will come out. You understand? And similarly, untruth cannot be protected forever. It will expose itself. So why would he give in to untruth? A person who is divine, he knows. So therefore, a person will give in to untruth only and only for the protection of the ego, which is a fake entity, false existence. And something that intrinsically doesn't exist, whatever you may do, how long can you protect it? Some context or the other, it will come out. That's why he says, a divine person always gives into Satyam, never gets into this Asatya. In a ship, they have this mariner's compass, which always points towards north. So, a divine person's goal is to get back to the self. Anything that will help him or her to get back to the self, he follows that. That is Satyam. Anything that truth. In every context, they would like to associate with truth, even if it doesn't bring name, fame, power, they don't care. Because they're intrinsically strong. Somebody who is intrinsically weak is the one who requires all these things. You understand? See, the scientist who said, it was Galileo, right? I think it's Galileo who said, it is the earth that revolves around the sun. Whole world was against him. He couldn't care. Forget it. You do what you want. You say whatever you want. He stood by that. That is because his inside is strong. Otherwise, he would have given into other people's opinion. You understand? So when this knowledge, somebody is well established, he already said, Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi, one who is established in this knowledge, he will give in to Satyam only. Why would he give in to Asat? See, when we want convenience, either for convenience sake or for easy sake, we give in to Asat. However difficult it may be, when the inside is strong, you stand by Satya. You understand? Otherwise, you fall for convenience, you fall for shortcut. It's very interesting. In many movies also they show this aspect. It is one of the important aspects of a leader. Means one has to be intrinsically strong. You understand? To be able to live up to the conviction. So, you will see that somebody who's giving so much importance to the process, because that is the truth. success and all is a byproduct. There is this movie. The name of the movie I'm forgetting. A very old movie. It's on golf. Actually, they have used Bhagavad Gita there. The coach name is Bhagavans. The movie is The Legend of Bhagavans. Bhagavans. Bhaggervance. That's the movie name. The Legend of Bhagavans. And when you say it in the American pronunciation, Bhagavan, and he coaches a player by name Arjuna. You understand? And when he coaches, slowly there comes a time where, if you know the game of golf, the ball that fellow hits goes into a shrub or something, or the rough it goes into. There's nobody checking. The tournament is going on, there's no camera, there's nobody checking. The referee has still not come there. He could have easily put the ball back into the fairway, but he doesn't do that. He says, I'll take the shot from here only. And that time the coach vanishes. He doesn't require coach anymore because his awareness, his conviction is the coach thereafter. He is ready to follow his inner conviction. He's not bothered about the success, failure. You understand? He's already conquered. He's already a winner. That's the main thing. That's called success. That's called Satyam. Show it in the movie. But we easily put the ball in fairway and taken the shot. But he says no. That's called Satyam. You are answerable to your conscience. You are not answerable to anybody else. Even if nobody is watching, the Atma, the consciousness from within is there as a saksha. Your conscience, are you with me? At the end of the day, you're answerable to your conscience. Nobody else. So being true to your conscience, like that mariner's compass in the ship that points towards north, the conscience within always points towards the self, truth. When you do something against the truth, it pricks. For you to course correct. Isn't it? And that conscience is what is symbolized by the conch of Lord Vishnu. You understand? And the goal is the peace, symbolized by Padma in Lord Vishnu's hand. Lord Vishnu has 4 hands. Padma, Shank, Gada, Chakra. He holds in all 4 different hands. So the goal is peace, represented by the lotus. And the conscience is always pointing towards the goal, the self within, the harbor of peace. And when you go against it, initially there's a gada, knocks and shocks. You better correct yourself. You go into more of nonsense, then chakra comes, the destruction. So you follow the conscience. You know that. You understand that you are doing something wrong. That means what? You are giving into falsehood. You are giving into ego. The protection of ego, which actually doesn't exist. See, unfortunately, we don't see the entire picture at the same time in our mind. The Bhagavadgita, he plays the entire picture actually, Adi Shankaracharya. He says, Ma kuru dana jana yavvana garvam harati nimeshat kala sarvam. Do not be proud of dhana, wealth, jana, following, yavvana, youth. Ma kuru dana jana yavvana garvam harati nimeshat kala sarvam. Somebody is crossing, an elderly gentleman is crossing the road. We are so impatient when you're driving. When you turn old, then you see what happens to you. This ego that comes with dhana, jana, yavana, all it is all false. It's not permanent. It's temporary. So, to protect that, we give in to untruth. So, a divine person with higher awareness knows very well that it is a futile exercise. You understand? Ultimately, what will conquer is the truth. This is, it's very interesting. The languages are really interesting, many of them. In Tamil, this body is called Mei. Mei means truth. Okay. Is the body really truth? Then why do they call it truth? It's a transferred epithet. When you say that this door is hospitable door. Door is not hospitable. People who reside inside the house, they are hospitable people. Similarly, when you say this body is truth, me, doesn't mean this is truth. The Atma is pervading this body. You understand? And this body is the temple in which the divinity is residing. And this body needs to be used properly to realize the truth. So it's a transferred epithet. But by itself, this is false. So there is no reason why a person who's got established in that higher knowledge will give in to falsehood. Therefore, he says, Satyam. Always following intellectual conviction and the inner conscience. The areas where it's not so clear, you follow the conscience. You understand? You have no intention to do anything wrong. Going by the conscience. That is called Satyam. So, Ahimsa, Satyam. And then Akrodaha. Krodha means anger. Akrodha. Akrodha means what? Absence of anger. What does absence of anger means? Firstly, we need to understand what is anger. Then only we can discuss what is absence of anger. What is anger? It's a reaction when your desire is interrupted. You get angry against that which interrupts or one who interrupts. A loves B. C says, you can't marry her. And A gets angry with C. You understand? It's a deflected thought current. So, what is a desire? If the desire is interrupted, you get angry. What is a desire?
A mind's wishes, what mind wants.
Desire is, we've been saying a particular way, now let's say it in a different. Different doesn't mean something completely opposite. Same thing from a different angle. See, desire is a bridge trying to connect the insecure present with so-called secure future. Correct or not? Isn't it? Today I'm in and I feel bringing that object or being in my life will make me secure. So I create a bridge towards that object or being. So when somebody comes in between, they are actually destroying my bridge. They are a threat to my security. You understand? Just on a lighter note, I'm saying this, don't take it personal. Late feel, array yaar, that would have taken her away. Unnecessarily, I fought with him and then got married to her. You understand? Maybe later on you will think that. But at that time, at that moment, your bridge promising a secure future is being interrupted. Are you with me? So that's when you get angry. So when you say absence of anger means absence of desire. Absence of desire is not suppression of desire. A lot of people, they suppress the desire, and that takes into all other kinds of variations, which is even more dangerous. You see, threatening that if you don't fulfill this, I will kill myself. Oh, I can't kill you, but I will kill myself. What is that? As if that is not violence. You understand? That's another kind of threat. So like that, people suppress their desires, thinking that you should not get angry. Bhagavad Gita says so. He's saying, akrodha, absence of anger, which means absence of desire. Which means what? He's transformed from desire, or he's transformed desire into love. And that is only possible when the root of the desire, what is that? The root of the desire is ego. The root of the desire is imagination of this existence of this individuality. Which is insecure because it's limited. You get it? So as long as you think you are this limited individual, which is obviously insecure, there will be desire, running after things for security, and there will be people interrupting, there will be anger. So absence of anger means absence of desire. Absence of desire means destruction of ego. Destruction of ego means what? Knowledge of the truth. Only by gaining the knowledge of the self, you will realize that this is not true. So once you realize the truth, then you know that essentially everyone is the expression of that one truth. Then the desire will be replaced with love. Now, when the desire is replaced with love, it is not that having no ability to use the inner energy in a certain context, which may appear as anger, but that's not anger. That's why we say you must use your temper, not lose your temper. When in love, sometimes the same quote which I gave for non-violence I'm giving now, be soft but firm. Sometimes I'm cruel only to be kind. Be soft but firm. Shakespeare says this. You're able to do that now. You're not angry. Others may think you're very angry. You're not. See, anger and awareness don't go together. Please understand this. When you are angry, you yourself will say, when I get angry, I don't know what I will do. That's a true statement. Because when anybody gets angry, they don't know what they're doing. They've lost the awareness. And you tell them, don't get angry. Necessarily your blood pressure will increase. Who is angry? I'm not angry. They're not aware. Right? So, when in love, you have not become incapacitated to take strong action, which may appear as anger. You are harnessing the inner energy with the total awareness, using it, which appears as anger. But you are in total control. It's called using the temper, not losing the temper. So, absence of anger doesn't mean passivity. These are all very important things to understand. We have our own interpretations. So, ahimsa, satyam, akrodha, all you can misunderstand. Oh, I should not get angry. So what am I doing? Drinking water. I should go and lock myself inside the door. See, what will happen to that energy? It has to come out. If it's not allowed to move outside, it'll start moving inside. Sometimes you wonder, some people who are extremely portraying themselves as very calm, reacting to some ordinary situation in some reaction. Something as small as that. Why did this fellow react like this? Because so much of suppression. You understand? So much of suppression. So when he says absence of anger, he's talking about transformed energy. He's not talking about subdued energy. He's talking about transformed energy. It's not that you suppress. Understand? Anger is energy. Give it the right direction. When awareness is there, you give it the right direction. When the awareness is not there, anger will finish you. Like a tufan, like a cyclone. In few seconds, everything will be devastated. So, he says, akrodaha, absence of anger. That's how you work. Anger, desire. Desire comes from ego. Ego is destroyed with knowledge. And once you have knowledge, you'll have love. And once you have love, means you have transformed that desire. Desire, when it gets transformed, it becomes love. It's very interesting, actually. Who was it? I don't know whether I'm quoting correctly. Abraham Lincoln or somebody else mentioned this. Once he got angry with something and he was responding to the other person by writing a harsh letter. When he was about to post it, why am I using so many harsh words? Let me just not post it. Wait, let me delay. And he said, next day, when he said, let me now write the response. The language was toned down quite a bit. He said, my God, in one day, there can be so much difference in my reaction. Right? So why not I delay a little more and didn't post it also? And he says, there came a day where it almost became a love letter. From an extremely harsh letter to love letter. So when I read this, maybe it is Abraham Lincoln or somebody who's mentioned it. So, it's like that. Something happens and we quickly react. A person with awareness will not react, will respond. The response may be spontaneous, but it is never impulsive. Anger is an impulsive reaction. Are you with me? Anger is an impulsive reaction. A person who is matured will always respond with awareness. It may be spontaneous response. See, when you're practicing, it will take time. But once you've been practicing regularly, right, you don't take that much time. You do it instantly. That spontaneously you can do it. So when a person's awareness level reaches a certain height, he will respond spontaneously. It may look like it's a reaction or an impulsive reaction, but it is not. So It's not like always, you have to pause, and how long to pause. When you listen to that story and all that, he delayed the letter and all that, you may think, even if you have to take immediate response, some decision, there will be zero anger. See, let me put it another way. By chance, your little finger, poked your eyes. By chance. Your little finger. Why? Why you don't get angry? It's me. So, in anger, there is always otherness. Remember that. In anger and violence and all that, there is always otherness. And to the extent there is oneness, there can be no anger. Impossible. So, therefore, he says, absence of anger. Ahimsa, satyam, akrodha. Then, tyaga. Only when there is no krodha, only when there is no anger, only when there is no hatred, can there be tyag. Otherwise, what tyag will you do? With anger, can you do tyag? It's a helpless tyag. You'll get angry with somebody, you say, okay, take it. Because you are not able to handle them. You say, take it. Doesn't mean you've done. See, all this is telling us that you have the ability to deal with the situation and then take the decision this way willingly as a choice. When it happens without a choice, it's not a divine quality. Whether it is non-violence. That's why I gave an example last week. Mike Tyson is calling me in a boxing ring, and I'm saying I'm practicing non-violence. Do I have any choice? He'll finish me. You understand? So I'm saying non-violence. I have no choice. You should have a choice and then exercise it. It's called non-violence. What happens when you're confronted by somebody very weak? What happened to our non-violence? What happened to our anger and all that? An absence of anger and all that. So tyag. There is no tyag possible with the wrong understanding of I and mine. There is no tyag possible until the I is not understood correctly. If you go deeply, it will be business. People threaten, मैंने इतना sacrifice किया आपके लिए, क्यों किया भाई? So, what are you trying to say? Is it payment time now? No. So, you are saying I've sacrificed so much. Yes. You're trying to now use it for getting something in return. Maybe gratitude. Something you want in return. That's not tyag. The root of tyag is sacrificing the ego. Only to the extent you have sacrificed your ego, you can actually do tyag. And that is not possible. You think? That's why you can renounce. Unless you take something higher, it's not possible to give up the lower. So when you establish yourself in the higher knowledge, only then the renunciation is possible. As a practice, you can do many things, but really a state of renunciation, when you say tyaga, it's not possible without sacrificing the I. Sacrificing the I means what? Understanding the original nature of it. Then tyaga is possible. Otherwise, tyaga is not possible. So he says, a divine person has this quality of tyaga. I have given. It's not tyaga. What is there that is mine to do tyag? That is called tyag. So basically, tyag is nothing but actually knowledge. It's a very big deal when you look at it from the egocentric person's point of view. But it's no big deal when you look at it from the knowledgeable person's point of view. Because to do tyag, you need to possess something. When you don't possess, what tyag you are doing? So really speaking, tyag is, what is tyag? Renouncing the possessiveness. This is real tyag. Isn't it? That is real tyag. When people introduce Swamiji, they don't know, many of them don't know anything about Swamiji. For the matter, any one of us, if we go for a talk and all, they usually take our profile from us and then they'll read it out. It's a mechanical process that happens every day. You have to go through that. So, they'll say, oh, he's given up this, he's given up that. So like that, when somebody was saying like that about Swamiji, he said, end of the day, after they finished, he said, I renounce nothing. And not only me, nobody can renounce anything. You can only take up something higher. When you take up the higher, you renounce the possessiveness. When you renounce the ownership, whose are you renouncing thereafter? To say that I have renounced. Do you understand? So really speaking, it is the renunciation of sense of indispensability. It's not renunciation of action. It is action or responsibility minus the sense of indispensability. It is called renunciation. It's not the renunciation of possession, it's the renunciation of possessiveness. It is renunciation. Hmm? So the of action, it is renunciation in action. That very doership is renounced. That very sense of indispensability. Without me, nothing happens. I'm more important. You know. So that is true renunciation. To the extent you gain the knowledge of the truth, to that extent, obviously, there will be no possessiveness. And to that extent, in every aspect, there will be renunciation. It's the renunciation of the ownership, not the renunciation of the owned objects. You get it? And that is because of the higher knowledge. So it's not possible, renunciation is not possible without the knowledge. So renunciation is growth. Renunciation is knowledge. Renunciation is not giving up, it is growing up. When you grow to the higher dimension, when you understand the higher dimension of the I, the lower dimension is given up. The lower dimension of the I is given up. Along with that, all possessiveness goes. Then हाथ साफ हो जाएगा. There is no possessiveness whatsoever. Let's conclude. Om Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.